Hello everyone, welcome to the course of mobile application development. In today's class, we are going to learn a new concept called querying a database, how to query a database, and not only that, we are going to focus mainly on how to add or insert any rows into the database, how to delete them, how to update them, everything we are going to learn. Okay. So as we know, in a database, everything or the data will be stored in the form of rows and columns. So each database query, coming to querying a database, it is written as a cursor. Now, this particular Android manages resources, these kind of resources more efficiently by retrieving and releasing rows and column values on the particular demand. Suppose let's say the name of the table to query a projection or an array of strings as a result set. It can be a where clause that defines the rows to be returned. It can be an array of selection of argument strings. It can be anything. So all these things can be done in the query by querying an database. A group of clause that defines how the resulting rows will be grouped. A having clause that defines which row groups to include, which is specified by a group clause. All these things will be included in the instructions of the or the commands of the this particular database in order to querying it. So a string that describes the order of the return rows, a string that defines the maximum number of rows in the results. So coming to the instruction, we have in order to query the database, we have an instructions like SQLite database DB. Here DB stands for database equal to code DB open helper dot get writable database. So here we are using an third-party library or a software package like CodeDB Open Helper, which we can make a normal database into a writable database. Now, coming to the applying querying to the database. So we need to use the variables like cursor, space cursor equal to DB. Here DB stands for database dot query with respect to the Horde DB Open Helper dot database table. As we know, the database will be in the form of a table. So here we are using database table with some results in the form of columns, results underscore columns. And we are using some clauses like where arguments, group by, having, and order. Okay. So this is how the instruction is written in order to query a database. Now, in order to extract the values from the cursor, so we have a syntax where or the group of commands where we can extract the values from the cursor. So here the cursor indicates the position where the database is there, and this can be given by using its get column index method. So suppose if int column index equal to cursor dot get column index. So we are mentioning a particular column index where that particular column name should be retrieved. So int column index equal to cursor dot get column index in the brackets key underscore column underscore one underscore name. Okay. So we are using an if condition over here. If column index is greater than -1, if this condition is true, that means there is some value existing in that particular cursor index or the column index. So if the column index is greater than -1, we are trying to retrieve the string column value with respect to string column value equal to cursor dot string in the brackets column index. Now, else we will be assuming that it is less than -1. That means there does not exist any kind of value in that particular column index or the cursor. So if the column index is greater than -1, we are asking to return the value what present in the column index. Otherwise, we are displaying something else that it does not contain any value like that. Now, coming to the adding, updating, and removing rows in the present database. So coming to the first one, so we can insert or add a new row to the database based on the values added to that. Okay, every time the user gives an input, if at all that current row is full, and it will be automatically created by inserting and adding rows by using some instructions. So the instructions what you see over here is SQLite database DB equal to hod DB open helper dot get writable database. So here DB stands for database, and hod DB open helper is the third-party library package which helps in executing these particular instructions or supports this instruction. Now, as we going to insert a new row, we are using a command like db.insert with respect to hod DB open helper dot database underscore table comma null comma new value. So here these null and new values are the clauses which will be helping for this particular command to get executed. So here null consider as the no value associated with it. Now coming to the updation of the rows. So if at all you want to update the row for the existing values, we need to use this particular instructions or the commands like SQLite database DB, where DB stands for database, equal to hod DB open helper dot get writable database. So again here, hod DB open helper is the third-party library package which helps in executing the instructions. Now, db.update stands for database updating with respect to hod DB open helper dot database underscore table. Okay, so as we are aware that this database is in the form of rows and columns or in the form of table. So updated values, where and where arguments are, all these are process which will be helpful for updating the database. Now, updating the rows in the database. Now, coming to the deleting rows. So coming to the deleting rows here, again, we are going for another instruction like to delete a row, we will be simply calling delete method on the database. So SQLite database DB equal to hod DB open helper dot get writable database. So where again DB stands for the database and the hod DB open helper is the third party library package which helps in executing this particular instruction which makes it compatible. Now, as we are going to delete the row, we need to use db.delete where it indicates database.delete and hod DB open helper dot database underscore table, and where arguments are the clauses we are going to use in this particular deletion of the rows. So deleting rows, updating rows, inserting and adding rows, all these are the rows which will be altered with respect to the open helper class. And this is the extracting, how we extract values from the cursors, and this is the syntax of it. And this is the querying a database. This is how we query a database using this particular commands or instructions. Thank you.